What do you think are the biggest mistakes that slots enthusiasts make, which leads them astray? Well, I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours. Yes, mine, because I've had to dig these mistakes out of my slots gameplay to go from losing as much as I was winning to consistently making a 30% profit. Why not 50%? Like those of my audience that have learned my content so well, that's what they do because I'm still learning. When I'm when I was just playing before I created Professor Slots, I figured out how to win at two of my local casinos and basically proceeded to wear out the chairs of the slot machine I won on. But you know me, that wasn't good enough. Good money, yes, but I love to teach. So I created Professor Slots and worked on solving your slots related questions. And today I'm talking about the 5 biggest mistakes out there for slots enthusiasts. Because you know what physicist Niels Bohr said, everybody does, right? He said, an expert is someone who has made every possible mistake within a narrow field, meaning that expert learned from their mistakes. We'll get into that in a minute. And of course, I'll be taking your questions. But because this is a live stream, and I am only saying that because, of course, the people who are live here now know it's live stream. But there's always new people coming to my channel, and I want to, I'm wearing headsets, so there's a microphone, and this is this is all helping people understand this is a live stream. It's a community event, and I'm so glad that you're here. The people who are live here know it is, but you might be watching this after the fact. Hello to you watching this recording. Thank you for being here, and be sure to subscribe for notifications so you can have your questions answered the next time I do one of these. But either way, stick around, and I'm sure it will be of value to you, even if you are watching this after the fact. But those of you who are here live, thank you so much. If you have a question, use #question. That's so I can be sure to spot your question to me instead of all the many comments in the live chat to each other. After all, this is also a community video where friends check in about how their slots play has been going lately. And thanks to the other creators of slots channels who are quietly watching my live streams. I'm glad so many of you have decided to watch. Educating yourself is so important, and keeping up with the field is what you need to do for your audience, even if you are an entertainment channel. So and the gradual passing down of my concepts onto your audience members is how our industry changes and grows. So please enjoy the show, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me at john@professorslots.com. Improve your slots play in 30 days or less with my 30 days to play slots smarter and win. You also get 3 free valuable bonuses plus 1 month free membership to my Slots Enthusiast Growth Network, where you get community support and accountability. Visit professorslots.com. Whoops. Oh, we want this one. Yes. I don't want to give anything away. Free. Well, actually, I give most things away for professorslots.com. This is the course, and you can learn more about free bonuses, course content, and testimonials from participants. Furthermore, the price of the course is increasing. This is how long you have: 5 days, 2 hours, 56 minutes, 33 seconds. And so the price change will take place at 10 p.m. Eastern this coming Sunday in the evening. So that's what you can see with the countdown clock. If you've purchased the course, you're good to go, because you have, that's one of those free things. You have lifetime access, including all future versions, which I am now working on the next version too, but that won't be available until August. But if you're been on the fence about taking the course, now's the time. I haven't raised the course price since I began offering it early last year, but my costs are, for offering it have increased. So get it now. And you only have 5 days, 2 hours, 55 minutes, 49 seconds left to decide. And put that away. Okay. So there are, I want to make sure I caught all the content. Yep. Good. Yeah. Cheryl says it's 98 degrees in Milwaukee. Yep, only 93 here. It was 20 degrees cooler a couple days ago. Anyway, yes, um, rather hot. Right. So, okay. So I will show this way. So the first mistake that slots enthusiasts make is that winning game themes exist. They, I'm going to say they don't. All right. There's always exceptions, right? There are advantage play games out there where people playing it build up kind of a bucket, kind of it doesn't have to be a bucket on the screen, but it's actually accumulating money to give back to the player, and it actually continues after a player has left. Now there are a lot of game themes where nothing like that happens. And so I want to talk about that, but I do want to mention advantage play slots, which is there are a few machines out there, a few game themes out there that do have those advantages, a lot fewer than people think. Some people think, oh, there's an advantage, and this is, and there really isn't. And so you can see that, because what a lot of people have been doing is kind of like this crazy thing that's going on about etiquette, where they're trying to get people to leave a machine by harassing them within limits, and then they kind of get on that machine because the person who left had built up so much of that amount that could be given out. And so this is pretty, what they call black hat sort of situation, and I don't advocate it at all. But I've had some people contact me about the abuses and being upset, and I said this is one of the possibilities. This is one of the possibilities that might be out there. But for the majority of the time, not talking about advantage slots, which are so rare, but it is possible. It's people think Lightning Link. It's not an advantage play. And they want to go to it, and wherever they are, in whatever country and whatever casino and whatever state, wherever they are, they want to play it. And that's perfectly fine. Okay. But they're not going to it because they're winning on them. They're going to it because they like it. It's player appeal, not cash. Now, some of these really popular games are the machines the casino has chosen to give better odds on. Not all of them, just the one on the end of the row, the one highly visible, the one at the intersection. When there's a whole bunch of them, one of them facing the direction for people leaving the casino, and one of them facing the direction of people coming into the casino. So there's two at maybe a major intersection, or a long row of what you think were identical machines, and they do have the same game on them, but not the same odds of winning. And that's just something casinos do. And so, winning game themes existing is not. Where is this? There we go. I have like controls here that are kind of like missing. I have to make the screen bigger. Good. So that's number one. Number two is machine location doesn't matter. And it does. It doesn't always. It's not like the odds get better as you approach. You have a row of slot machines, and the odds get better as you go from the center of the row to the ends of the row where the aisle is. No. It's all those machines except the ones on the end have odds average odds, but the ones on the ends can, in some casinos that have budgeted for end of row machines, to be in that location, visible from a distance, and it's very encouraging to watch somebody play. So you sit down next to them, not realizing that when you sit down next to them, it's not the end of the row machine anymore. And so this is valid technique, not illegal. It takes some work for the casino to do that, but they make so much money from it that it pays for itself and then some, like a lot more. As we've talked about in the past, if you have something new, and you want to make twice as much money. And you try to convince people that, buy my Gidget, buy my Gizmo, because uh, somebody said, I saw Saginaw. I had a Jewish friend that called me a Meshuggah, which I think means crazy. Sorry, I'm seeing Navy mom in Michigan's comment. We'll get to that. Right. So machine location, when people think it doesn't matter, it usually doesn't matter. In some casinos, it's only a couple of machines in the casino that have been set up to be highly visible and have better odds. But in other casinos, like Soaring Eagle in Michigan, it's the end of every row, and so it's budgeted. And so, you know, I know it would be very satisfying if the machine location always mattered or never mattered, but I'm sorry, it's somewhere between those two things. It depends on your casino because it's the casino's choice. And we have that one crossed off. Number 3. So others winning isn't relevant. Sure it is. Yes, the casino has a lot of control within legal limits to make the whole place explode, or take their money, or just try to manipulate you into having a good time. And if you are trying real hard to win on a slot machine, and the casino's, every seat is taken, every other seat is taken, or the whole casino is just packed, and nobody's winning, how can you expect to? It's this is your clue that what's happening is that it's a winning time or not a winning time, and you can use that to your advantage. So others winning isn't relevant. Well, if you don't care, you don't care, but you're missing out. It's a huge mistake. I know I personally, I don't know you as well as I know me, but when I go to a casino, I'm like, I go to play. And then I go there and I'm like, it's full of people, nobody's winning. And I'm like, what do I do? Go for a walk, have lunch. Did I get the hotel? Maybe I go, do something, wait for it to change. And that's very inconvenient. That for me, I get impatient with like, oh, come on, but it certainly is happening. And if you make it a regular thing, I've had to go home. I've had 2-hour trips to casino and turned around. I don't like that, but it, others winning is relevant. Yeah. And there's also, people say if you're at the casino, there's why do you keep playing? When you're tired, when you're hungry, when you've had too much to drink, when you won once and you still have all that money to spend because you got your hand paid and you want to go home with nothing, you're chasing wins. And it's like, dude, guys or girls, just like play when you're focused, play when you're ready, play when you feel, balanced. Play, if you can't stop playing, go watch one of the entertainment slots channels and just, watch it on your phone and don't spend any money, because you need to be, I don't want to say you need to be focused and you need to, concentrate. You do, but I don't want to have to tell you that. On the other hand, if you're just like slammed and you're just tired and you're not noticing other stuff, that's hurting you on your slots play. And so it, now if you're Chuck, who sometimes is here, usually comes to the Saturday show on Tuesday night. He's out to one of the casinos in Missouri with his family. So he sometimes listens in the car. Hey, Chuck, if you're listening. And he says he likes it when he's just a little bit upset, and a little bit tired, usually about 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's when he really seems to perform well on slots. So he knows himself, and but I know myself, and if I'm not watching what I'm doing, I mean that's why I don't play two machines at once. And the reason I don't play two machines at once is because I've got it. There's a lot going on. Um, a lot of important things that matter. We're going through some of them now. I'm listening, I'm watching, I'm looking around. What is the machine doing? Is there some sort of pattern that it might be detecting? Is it a winning machine? Should I leave? Is it, should I stay? And did it change? And what time is it? And there's just so much to do that I would have to double almost all that if I were to play two machines at once. And that's all I'm talking about. If you're there, you're there. And if you're focused, you're focused. And that can help. Now, if you want to go and blow your bankroll and don't care, none of these mistakes matter. You're probably doing all of them, have fun. I've met people that have just like they can afford to spend $100,000 a month. They can afford it. Easy. And but they contact me for consultations, and I've been getting a lot of consultations lately. If you're interested in where that is, you can find my page here, professorslots.com/consultation, and people have been signing up like in droves, so that's great to see that. But when if you're trying to if you're spending $100,000, a month, and like I've had, that was a small amount for one person, and they just had questions about taxes and other things to take care of, and but they also said, I can afford it, but I don't like it. It doesn't leave me feeling good, and so maybe I can just go and win. I don't need the money, but I feel better when I leave because if I can even just break even. And I do this, do this, do this, do this. What casino you go to, and of those four, see which one actually works, and then do that, and then play the machine that you find that does all the things that I talk about and you're looking for, and wear the darn seat out, and then you win. Unless you get bored and you want to play another machine, then go lose. And so some people just keep on playing and keep on playing, and I'm not talking about problem gamblers. I'm talking about, well, what else there's to do? I got the money, might as well just spend it. And there's some people that think that the choice of the casino doesn't help, and that's just I understand that people don't like charts. Charts like this, which is Indiana. It has the May returns, and it's from the beginning of 2019. And there's exceptions, but French Lick is the best, and Horseshoe, Indianapolis is the worst. But since the months when all casinos were closed, and there are exceptions on an occasional month here and there where a casino that's normally high drops down below that number, but you can see the choices made by the casinos where there's a couple of casinos that are high. This is also true for the Miami-Dade and Broward County Florida casinos, where there's a couple casinos that just for years they're high, and then there's one that's like on that one there's like clear daylight across the bottom, like Ohio has Belterra Park, and it's just like there's a gap between the bottom of this, and so the casino matters. Now I understand that there is only 40% of states offer return statistics, and so odds are that you're less than half. There's less than one, the 4 and 10, 2 and 5 40% chance that you have it for your state or states that you gamble in. And so that's nice odds, but it's not the best odds. I'd much rather see it more like 80%. And so, so hey guys, and I'll share how my cats and Isaac are doing in a moment. But so yes, I've been talking to someone in Michigan. They're talking about maybe trying to talk to tribes, trying to talk to the state gaming commission to see what would be necessary for return statistics to be provided when they're not. And for tribal casinos in Michigan, and it's going to be, it's going to take a while. But they were asking some questions, and I said, well, what does the compact say about how often they can change the compact? Because if who decides, and we're just digging into it. So if you're interested in better returns and all of that, get involved in your state and try to make some changes, maybe even become the secretary of the gaming commissioner, or become the gaming commissioner, assistant gaming commissioner, and see what's possible, right? And now, because that is only helping 40% of people, I have a bonus. And some people say, why should I bother keep gambling records? I have a win-loss statement that tells me if I'm in the red, or if I'm making money or I'm not making money, and if I've lost money, how much money that I've lost. And I'm like, and did you mark down what you did on a trip? Just a couple of words, comments for that trip about, I found this machine, I saw that. It was, busy Father's Day. Juneteenth isn't celebrated. Happy belated Juneteenth. And all these different things that when you look back on it, you start to see these patterns. So keeping your own gambling records, when the IRS is, they say that the win-loss statements, it has to be win and loss, not the difference. Otherwise, the IRS is like, that's as good as ATM receipts. It's secondary. It may be useful if you get it audited. So if you don't have, what I want for you is if you're not winning, to start winning. Then if you start winning, you have two problems. One is you're going to need gambling records, because we all learn when we get our first W-2G, oh, the IRS wants that. I'm going to have to keep it or get more copies when it gets closer or something. And we all go through a learning curve. And one of the things we learn is gambling records are a good idea, even if it's just a pad of paper. IRS accepts that. And how much you took with you, how much you left with, who you went with, what day, what casino. And that's pretty straightforward. And the lot of win-loss statements don't provide anything like that. And then you're surprised. So, you can keep gambling records. I'm going to cross that out for you. Right. So let us move into questions. Yeah, I realized I was talking for a little bit too much the last couple of times. I mean to only go like 20 minutes, but I tend to go to 25, 30 minutes. So let me start looking in to see what kind of questions you have. But before we do that, improve your slots gambling performance with come on now, there we go. So there we go. Improve your slots gambling performance in 30 days or less with my 30 days to play slots smarter and win. The price is going up on Sunday at 10 p.m. in the evening, 5 days, 2 hours, 36 minutes, 2 seconds from now. And if you've been on the fence about it, and if you purchased it, thank you so much. But if you are on the fence about it, visit professorslots.com/30 days to learn all about the free bonuses, course content, and testimonials from participants. So let's take a look at questions. Yeah, there's a bunch of channels that watch me, Jojo. Thank you. I've seen some names appear. They're usually pretty quiet, which is the respectful thing to do. I would do the same on theirs. It's all part of etiquette for creators jumping on other shows. I should do more of that myself, but there's so little to see for so long. Yeah, I used to. Was it 2018? Some of you know I was on all the gambling podcasts, talking to them, and it's pretty good. But then the host would contact me afterwards, talking about the screaming fans, and it was not a good thing. They were screaming at that host having me on their podcast. It doesn't work that way. And it's just like too soon for them. Sorry to be innovative. Sorry that I know. Sorry that I know statistics and then some. And Paula is my moderator. Tell Paula, thank you, Paula, for being here. And I tried to call you just beforehand just to see if you would be here, but I don't know what black cats are. I do know what a Heinlein reference is, but that's a little bit obscure for me. Whatever book it is, I've read it, but Black Cat is more of a online sort of programmer, sort of website builder, where you do some things which are technically illegal, and then there's white hat techniques on marketing and black hat techniques on marketing, and then there's other areas that are like gray, and it's pretty interesting, but no reason not to be perfectly white hat. Jojo has a question. I'm going to MGM Grand in Detroit, 11 p.m. this Saturday. Do you have any machine advice, or should I go elsewhere? I have machine advice, and I would suggest you go elsewhere. If you go to, let's see here, I'll jump on my website for you. There we go. So I always need to do my mouse thing. So mouse, make it big. Make it big. There it is. Okay. So there's my mouse. And there is something called reviews. Can you see that? If you're on a phone, it's a little hard to see, but it's the third from the end. And so I have trip reports. And I went too far. So there's Belterra Park, and then the one before that is MGM Grand Detroit Casino trip review. And I was there when it was snowing, which is, in the 90s today. So I went down to here. I don't have a picture of it. And this is my experience. And I walked around, and then I found where highly visible machines, where the 5-spin approach worked, but the wins were small, and I ended up today. Right, here it is. It's hard to find the kiosk. They have them, but they're just kind of in out of the way locations without, not at a major intersection or anything like that. But if you go to the kiosk, they actually have a map of the casino, and you can zoom it in, I think, like twice. So what you're looking for is zone 4, the corner of zone 4, as seen on the interactive map in the player's card kiosks, where there were 2 machines with better returns. Just follow the walkway from that corner towards zone 3. You'll see a Game of Thrones themed slot machine facing you on the left side, and facing someone coming down the aisle towards you, a Mad Max Fury Road theme machine. Those 2 machines. I didn't find anything else. Oh, I did find one other thing where in the high limit room, there was a $2 machine. It was next to the pillar, kind of in the center of the room. It's a mixed up high limit room, really is. But this one was a twin win 2 slot machine next to the pillar in the center of the high limit room. In the whole casino, my 3 hours there, I only saw 2 hand bays. Both of them were on that, and they were only a few minutes apart. So I wish I could do this at every casino fairly recently, and I'm getting out there, but this is what I have for you. And you good? Okay. Decal, hello. Let's see. I don't, so I don't know if you have a question, Juan. You said, I understand perfectly. How is your filling a winner or lose? I'm sorry, I don't understand. Cascade Kid says Class 2, Class 3, Three Rivers Casinos, Florence. Three Rivers, Florence, Indiana? No, that's not called Three Rivers. Where is Three Rivers? Indiana has only one tribal casino. If it's Indiana, if it's Florence, Indiana, and that's at the north end of the state, not the south end of the state, if that's what you mean. And for some reason, I'm drawing a blank on Three Rivers, but it only has Class 3 because the tribal casino is limited to Class 2, and there's only one in Indiana. If you want to give me the state to identify it, that would be great. Thank you, Francis, for the $2 super sticker. And I think you have a little, it's hard to see except in the live stream. It's like me. And if you have a question, please ask. Yeah, I did all the work at MGM. You can, try those two, and otherwise, you can watch for new stuff. I see in one slot pay rate of 92%. Is that rate for all slots in the casino? Yes, generally that's how that works. I think you might have been looking at a picture that I had put up for Indiana, and yes. So if you were looking at this, then there 92 is here, and there was 2 of them over for this casino back before when everything closed, and they were like that for 91.5 is not, is pretty high, and so for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, they had great returns. But then they dropped way below that before that. But I think what happened was, I don't know why they did that, but they certainly got a lot of people upset by going from the top of this graph to the bottom of this graph. And so no doubt a lot of people just went, I'm not going to ever gamble here again. And they had to win them back. So I can imagine that forced them to try to get them back by giving them 5 months of winning. But then when they came back from the pandemic, they went back down to that number over here. And I'm sorry, it's I don't have the blue highlighted, but if you go look at my Indiana report, you'll see each of these in a video that I'll show every 5 seconds, every 4 seconds, and it'll show which one of these is with its color highlighted. And there does seem to be something going on where they basically went like this from the middle of 2020, all of 2021, and so far in 2022, and they seem to be going up. But I noticed that they dropped a significant amount from April to May. So yeah, I mean, take a look. This is, data. Um, and yeah, so I see questions coming up. Let me do them in order. And Sandy says, not a question, but I've learned from you to start keeping written records versus in my head. Yeah. There's a lot that I can remember, but I found out when I was writing my book that it helps if the memory's fresh. Yeah. And Francis doesn't have a question, but Paula puts a little up arrow for me. Thank you, Paula. What a great moderator. Look up, John. Look up. Francis says, from your experience, why does common sense go out the window at times? They work hard at that. They work hard to create that feeling. It's the bright lights. It's the loud music. It's it's called, technical term is arousal, and you get overstimulated. And if they can just kind of like keep you there, but not so much that you're tired out, and just kind of like, if they could feed you a little bit of alcohol, get you sort of like, some of your inhibitions kind of lowered, and walking into a casino is its own thing. That it's carefully designed to capture people who are susceptible that way. And yeah, there's if you have a gambling problem, a big 800 number over in the hallway with the escalators or the elevators down to the casino floor and back out. But they're legally required to provide all that information. But by golly, if they can just give you free drinks or loud music. Sometimes when you get onto a slot machine, it automatically resets before you get on, it automatically resets to high volume, even though the previous player turned it down. And these are all, there's a great study. I don't know if you want to look up this stuff. I've begun to realize that limit the number of graphs that I show, but still tell you what's going on in the graphs. But there is a great research center in Australia where the Australian government, it's like, we got to tell people, we got to inform people that, these things are happening with these games. They're designed, they are designed to, make people be emotionally influenced. And then they talk about how. And there's some great articles on their research center that they put up on this stuff. And America doesn't do that because it's not required. But Australia does do it. And it's, these companies are global. So they're talking about the machines you're playing. We can go for another hour and 20 minutes if we need to. But then my voice kind of gives out. So, and did I answer Sandy? Yes. Francis, the casino is not out to help you. They're doing whatever it takes that's legal. Marketing, did you know colors on marketing influence your emotions? Salvador Dali has a red painting and everybody looks at it, gets angry. It's and he knows his colors, and that's what happens there. So there, Starbucks, if you the mermaid, the green mermaid, that's a particular color green that does what. And blue, kind of like the I don't really, this blue that Facebook uses for the like button. And please, everybody like the video. It's the live stream, please. It really does have a big impact, big positive impact. Blue is clear thinking, and that just being sort of settled and thoughtful is what Facebook uses. And then what YouTube uses is actually more of a darker red than this pillow here. And then on my left, let me let me not use my mouse. I'll point there. And that is the YouTube, but over here is the Facebook, and those colors have an emotional impact. Not much, but when you put all this together, this is what we're seeing here. And Jojo has become a fan, and I want to recognize that. Thank you, Jojo, for becoming a fan. There is a member of the a fan is my lowest category. I only have one of membership on YouTube, and Jojo just became a member. Thank you. And there'll be a little icon. Jojo, you want to say something? I guess we can see it here. You can't see it on this screen because it says S, but on the live chat it says new, and that's what she's a new member. And now she'll always have that little symbol next to her until it switches over to like 1+, 2+, 3+, 4+, and that's how many months she's been a member. So I will spot her question first, along with other people who have that. I think I got to your question, right, Francis? Spent quite a lot of time on it. So Juan says, yes, we already answered that. So, okay, literary references. I met Paula once upon a time in a literary course. And so in that book, a black cat was basically a bad guy. In the real world, a black cat is a bad guy. And I'm pretty sure it didn't come from Heinlein. I'm pretty sure that it came. Actually, I don't really know what the history of where that came from. But there's also white hats, and if he used white hats, then that's possible. But if he didn't, it's sometimes it might be possible. Bill says, it's thank you for pointing out that it's a comment, not a question. I play both live and electronic table games. I noticed your advice on best times to play slots seems to be somewhat work on electronic table games as well. Electronic table games, there's a Nevada revised code, NCR, NRC, regulation 14, which is the gaming regulations for the legal system in Nevada, and section 14.040 paragraph 5 is a very clear statement saying that the odds of winning on a electronic form of a table game, whatever it is, must have the odds of the table game. No variation. If it's that game of poker, then that. If it's that game of poker, then that. If it's Keno, craps, blackjack, whatever, it is the odds of the actual physical table game. And I have not found that in any of the other states. Compacts, gaming regulations, it's a very clear statement. If they wanted to have it, they could have it. I haven't found it anywhere. So that means that video poker is not video poker. It's more than video poker. It's video poker plus slots outside of Nevada. You must both play optimal play and the end of the row machine, or the highly visible machine, or the 5-spin method, or this and that and the other thing. Better times, as you were saying, better times to win, because it's not just roulette, electronic craps, electronic whatever. It's also a slot machine outside of Nevada, because only Nevada has that gaming regulation that I can find. If you want to look at your own states and kind of dig through them, see if they have anything like that clear statement. I have an article on video poker on my website, and professorslots.com/video poker with a dash between video and poker. And you can find all that. So why don't I just make sure I get that for you. So make sure I share that with you. So here I am, and now put that away. Video poker. Remember the URL. Yes. So can video poker be beat using my slot strategies? And so if you go down to this paragraph, section 14, 040, paragraph 5, this is what that paragraph is. One sentence, beautifully written. And gaming companies that provide video poker machines and other electronic games to other states don't add anything extra. Don't add anything that's not part of the state's gaming regs. Machines go to states and specific states and are set up to follow that state's gaming regulations. And if that ain't part of it, why would they add the extra cost? Might even be illegal, depending on the state. Oh, Oregon. Sorry. Thank you. I know somewhere back there was a question about Class 2 and Class 1s in Florence, Oregon. And Washington, the state of Washington has both Class 2 and Class 3 machines. The Class 3 machines are unique. They're based off of scratch ticket lotteries. Scratch ticket lotteries, it's electronic, it's virtual, and it's all under the control of the tribal lottery system. Some states like Ohio have, because the racetracks have a connection to the state lottery, and but it's not like this. And if a state has that, New York, all these other states that have that sort of system, like Illinois, for instance, in the bars and taverns, all this is based on the draw lottery. You get a draw, you get a number, and then later on it's determined what the winner is. But on the scratch ticket, something is a winner, and you just uncover it, and you don't have to wait for a drawing. So scratch ticket versus draw ticket. And the state of Washington is the only state that has scratch ticket lottery on their slot machines, in their batches, and all of that. So if you want to, let's see here, I'll switch over to, by the way, I have a lot of videos on YouTube. Just go look, but home base for me is my website. It's where I direct the content from my podcast, from my Facebook, from my 57 Facebook groups, and from my YouTube videos. I embed them in articles, and this is where you can find most of my content. Right now, YouTube is popular, but and I'm putting as much as I can on there. But home base is the website, so we can write down unique slots, unique-slots. And should not come back with an error. And so you have a strategic plan to win on Washington's unique slots. So this is the plan for winning on and you can see scratch tickets, and there's a YouTube video that you can play here, or you can go to my YouTube channel and watch it there. You're all on YouTube, so I know you can go to YouTube. And I don't mean to pull you away, but a lot of people just look at websites. A lot of people just look at YouTube. A lot of people just think the entire internet is Facebook. And a lot of people listen to podcasts, and a lot of people read books or listen to audiobooks. I do all of that and have been doing it for quite some time. Probably should have started YouTube first. I started YouTube 4 years ago, and I could have started it 14 years ago, but I did not. And so, so there's two types of state lotteries, blah, blah, blah. And so if you go to professorslots.com/unique-slots, then you'll come to this article. And you might want to read that if you haven't already. Yeah. Thank you. Diane. My luggage was destroyed by the bellhops at Tropicana in AC. I reported it to my host, nothing. I replaced it myself. Is this normal? Destroyed by who? Okay, you said destroyed by bellhops at the Tropicana, and I don't know about it being normal. So you handed it over to them to take up to the room, and then it was destroyed, or you put it behind the counter and for later check-in. I mean, what does one do? I'm just trying to understand where it all went wrong. How did the bellhops? So the bellhops are bellhops, so they're taking it from the check-in counter to your room. What did they do? Drop it down an elevator shaft? I mean, yeah, that would ruin it. Did they go through it? Was it robbery? And that's all bad. That's all bad. I'm so sorry for your loss. I hope it wasn't anything personable and sentimental and memorable, because that's over and above the cost of replacing it. I'm sorry you had a bad experience. And Camilla, hi Camilla. I have heard special scents are diffused through casinos to promote addiction as well. True. We have smoke. Okay, even if you have a smoking parlor, and they want to do something about that. The other thing is, there's a lot of carpet in these rooms. Have you ever been? Let's see. Have you ever worked in a factory that had carpeting, and everybody cleared out? So there was like 5 acres of cubicles. Maybe the cubicles were removed. I mean, have you been in circumstances like that? It's powerfully stinky because, the air's, it's just kind of like, somebody please give me something to cover the smell. And casinos are, people are spilling drinks all the time. And, they want to have a perfumed. Even the cigarette smoke is there, and if you can cover it up. Does it have an effect on people? I suppose. I don't know of any mood altering scents. You can Google it. I don't really feel comfortable Googling it myself on my work computer, but mood altering scents. And, there is businesses, there's OSHA, which is the organization, safety and hazardous something. Sorry, I used to be compliance officer at my business, at my the place I used to work, just the local representative, not the officer. But OSHA has all these rules of what they can follow, and so God forbid that they should use a perfume that causes cancer, and then they have a civil suit and all of that. There's a place I used to work. Hey, Kitty. There's a place I used to work that 15 years before I worked there, almost 20 years ago, but so 35 years ago, there was cases coming forward, and court cases on people having, tradesmen having washed their hands in a solvent that, did terrible things. It just went right through skin and collected in the body and caused all kinds of problems. And that is to be avoided. So no amount of influence is going to make up for $1 billion civil suit. So to their own, it's to their own advantage not to do that sort of thing. But if you want to look up mood altering scents, see, I'm pretty sure there's aphrodisiacs, right? But it have to be interesting. Do we have a scent scientist? Hello, anybody is a scent scientist? And my cat is alternating between licking my fingers and kind not nipping at them. So if I say ouch, wow. Good questions. My goodness. Um, and Jojo says, I want to thank you for all your wonderful advice and sharing your knowledge over the years. You're welcome. I enjoy it. Question from Biz. Are casino player cards an advantage or disadvantage to use? So the general thing that's going on is a lot of people who play slots lose. They don't care. They're just playing. But they find that they get a lot of comps. And those comps have value, and sometimes they keep them for themselves, and sometimes they fill up their spare bedroom with gifts for family on birthdays and holidays for later. And those can be pretty exciting, not to mention, professional baseball game tickets and trips and all those other things that you can get with a player's card. My point is that a lot of slots players, the traditional, not really, it's all random, sort of not thinking about it. Players are like, well, comps is where you win the money. And my point is, if you don't like comps, then you don't need a player's card. And you're kind of leading into a question. That's the advantage to it. The disadvantage is kind of mythical, which is everybody is, I do a video on it every like 3 months of just for, the disadvantage that people think that it would have. They're concerned that the casino's lowering their odds because they knew who's playing. And there's 3 different ways to, I talked about this for an hour before. There's 3 different ways to kind of like nip that in the bud. And 2 of them are used by everybody. And so everybody's just like, whatever. I don't believe that. I've heard that before. 1, totally illegal. Okay, you've already forgot my saying that. Okay, moving on. Number 2, it's not the place where you put in the card is physically disconnected from the unit. That unit is disconnected in the interior of the slot machine from where all the betting takes place. All it gets is a signal that, somebody spent money, and that's it. So there's it's a one way from that part of the machine that you spent money, and it doesn't send any information back. Inputs only, right? That one works a little better, but only if you're scientifically minded or a technician or you know a little bit of electronics, and so that's a little better than saying that thing that you completely forgot the first. Everybody forgets the first thing, the illegal thing. So I use a third approach. If you, and it's kind of technical a little bit. If you look at the annual financial statements for the slot machine manufacturers who make these systems for casinos, they are not real time. They talk about, this is an accounting system on the central server, and they have to say whether or not it's real time. And they don't say how off from real time it is, but it looks to be around 4 hours. And so they know how things are going that day up to 4 hours ago. But you weren't even at the casino 4 hours ago, and they're not aware what you're doing now, but they might be aware in 4 hours. So it's not real time. Computers aren't that good. Some people would say, well, they will automatically just set me to lose. Really? Because that's how you drive a business, out of control. They need to know what effect a choice will have, and they won't know for 4 hours after you play. And in 2 years, 5 years, it'll be 3 hours. And in 2 years or 3 years after that, 10 years from now, it'll be 2 hours. And yeah, they'll get better, but there's a lot going on, and it's not real time. Sorry, you may not have asked that, but you sort of implied it. Oh, they ripped off 2 handles on your luggage at Tropicana at Atlantic City. Wow. That's they're usually built pretty strong, so I would assume that they simply push the cart down, like out of the elevator and caught the edge. You can't rip it off. You have to like hammer it. And so taking the whole cart full of stuff and just slamming it against the edge of a door, that would do it. Yeah. A little bit of force involved, particularly if you like take the cart it's on and just run it, you're running with it. And yeah, trying to hurry. That's what I think. I sense sense makes sense. Sorry, was that a joke? Camilla, yeah, distinctive sense, sure. Honestly, again, I don't know if you've ever been in a factory that was deserted, in a office building, a floor of a skyscraper that hadn't been occupied yet. You go away from your home and you turn off the air conditioning maybe, and you come home after a week, and what does it smell like? I have wood walls, right? You can sort of see that. I guess I have the lights turned down a little bit. I have spruce. And when I go on vacation, I kind of like, I don't turn the heat off in the winter, and I don't turn the air conditioning all the way up in the summer if I go take a trip, but I leave something on. But it's really not that much. I remember the previous owner just turned everything off because he didn't want to get charged for anything. And I after 4 days, I was away in Yellowstone, and I came back to my new log cabin, and I went in, and I'm like, whoa, what is that smell? Because it just permeates the room, and it's old wood, not varnish, but old wood. So you don't want to smell a casino. The scents are nice. But what you're asking, is it more? Adam, question. What does a machine that is paying out for a while seem to suddenly stop paying out? It is not your imagination. This is what happened to me. And it was, 6 days of winning, like win after win after win. Like I could not believe it. It was a $1 machine, 5 credit machine, and I won $1,000 wins, more $750, more $500. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many $25 I won. And then I won, including hand pays, 13 of them in 6 days. And I was like, and so you're describing I'm describing the first half of what you're talking about. And then on the 7th day, I went in, put my $500 in as usual, and gone. Like 5-6 minutes. Just took it. No wins. And I was shocked because the winning was pretty convincing that, I'm looking around going, what's going on? But then they turned it off. And that blew my mind a second time and more. So what you are seeing, the reason why I'm growing isn't because I'm persuasive or, great at marketing. I'm trying to get better, but as you can tell, I know I'm trying to get better. Sorry, everybody. But people are seeing these things and they're looking for answers, and I have the answers. They're finding me because they're trying to understand what you saw, because what? It's not what people expect. But then what they expected wasn't real. And so this is real. What you're seeing are real. And yeah, it goes from paying out to not paying out. And you play it for an hour, and then you're winning. And I've gone from bonus round after bonus round after bonus round after bonus round to no bonus rounds, but I was still winning. It turned to line hits only, and like for an hour, right? For bonus rounds, an hour, and then it switched over to just line hits for like half an hour until I only go for like 2 hours at a time. So I was like, I guess I'm out, done. And what the heck was that? Changed on the hour at Miami Valley Gaming in Lebanon, Ohio, and Southwest Ohio. It was just, you see this stuff. Yes, and I used to think somebody said, well, there's a rumor that somebody said that you couldn't change the odds while somebody was playing it, and it did seem to be that way for a few years. Certainly before Central Servers came out in 2012, a lot of the old slot technicians, they talk about this as though it's what happens today, and it's just not. They're remembering the glory days of if you notice, if a technician opens it up, punches a bunch of numbers, does a little bit with the code, and has a state official standing behind them with a clipboard, and there's two of them, and it's a whole process to change the odds by hand, and it interrupts your gameplay. But now they don't need to interrupt your gameplay. They can change it. And it used to be that they would at least pause the machine or wait till the next player got on so that it would be idle for 5 seconds. And then, you could use that to your advantage. If you're on a terrible machine, you can like stop playing and take your money out and take your card out and then put it back in and then see if you have better odds, because it couldn't be worse, right? If you never win. But now that's all gone. Now, as it goes from an hour's worth of winning to going from it changes without having stopped. Yeah. What you're seeing is what's happening. Question: are you into playing Dragon Link, Rake and Bacon, or Roulette? Not particularly. I don't care about the game theme. No, I have fond memories of Wheel of Fortune. I do. I won, and I've won big in high limits, but it was only because those are the machines that were on the back wall, set up high, visible to people out on the main casino floor in the downtown Cincinnati casino. And I figured out those are the machines that I was wearing the chair out playing. And won 90 taxable hand pays, 90 hand pays in 9 months. One of them $27,000, but some of those 90 wins in 9 months was actually at another casino, and it was more of the 5 spin method that they were just like pushing hard, and so I would go there and win hand pays, and so altogether 90 in 9 months before I won a car. And that's the basis of my book, and tells you the whole story of where all this, the story I was telling you about the $61,000 wins and 13 hand pays in 6 days, and then stop, and so that's where I learned all this. And I try to also give people, and this is how what I learned from it, and this is what you can do. So it's kind of my story, but it's also the strategies. But I've stopped updating that, and now I have a course. Yeah. No, I don't really care. I mean, I've played Dragon Link, and I have played Roulette. There was like a 98% return on the 5-cent machines in Harrah's, North Kansas City, 1 month, and it was 8 machines, and I thought, I'm going there to have dinner with my daughter. I think I'll swing by Harrah's, North Kansas City, and find those machines. And somebody directed me to a kiosk with showing where all the machines were. And I said, I'm looking for the 5-cent machines. And they said, well, we have our 8 roulette wheels. Kind of a not with a dealer, without a dealer. And it was a physical reel, but it wasn't. It was under a dome, and I never really looked particularly closely at it to see how electronic it was. But there was no dealer, and it was all kind of like a carousel with just one wheel, and that was electronic game. And I was like, roulette. It was the high return, but it was electronic game and not a table game. Yeah. That's my stories. Adam says, what determines the sudden changes? The casino. The casino has a marketing plan, has a business plan, and so they decide. There's, we could talk about their motivations, what drives them. They know how many people come to their casino. They know how many, they know what time most people come in, how much was spent. They have these statistics better than anybody else has. They have the numbers, and so they look at the trends and they say this many people came in and then they left. They don't know who left necessarily, because not everybody uses a card, but they know how many people were in there, and then they're like, when we did this, they stayed, and when we did this, they didn't stay. So let's do that first thing more of. And so they have figured out the trends of, what drives people to stay. Maybe they use sense. There's all kinds of things. So my strategies are technically not strategies; they're counter strategies for the different ways that casinos are trying to manipulate players. So they don't use every thing they could use. All my strategies don't work at one casino, but up to 4. And I don't know which one, unless I've been to that casino and can start sorting down which one works at that casino, because it's a counter strategy to what they're doing. So yeah, obviously to make money, but not just, make money. It's about keeping people happy and staying longer, because that's how you make money, right? It's a lot of people are like, well, they just take your money. I'm like, no. They get you to stay and spend your money. And that's a little harder. And so how might they go about doing that? Yeah. There's all different kinds of ways. And I talk about counter strategies to the strategies that they have, the standard operating business practices. Yeah. Do you have strategies for your Australian followers? I won 4 hand pays on minimum bet at a pub. I used your 5 spin and location methods. Pubs less than 30 machines. Yep. Thanks, Edward. The small pubs are the pubs with less than 30 machines are all over the place in Australia. As you know, there is a large casino pardon my pronunciation, Melbourne, and it has they cannot advertise. They can't even, to the point where they cannot put on a website that they have slot machines. That level of can't advertise. And so, like I said, Australia is, all over this, helping people get over addiction and other things. But speaking of the pubs, the reason why the 5 spin method works, the 5 spin method, it seems so simple, and it isn't. It's complex, but all that's hidden from you. If a casino has 1 out of 4 casinos have the attempt to manipulate you, to give money, you a little bit of money, and then you spend it all, and then whatever you brought with you and go get more. That's the 5 spin. That's tastes that you get with 5 spin method. But the 5 spin method is also a loss limit approach and preserving gains approach. So the 5 spin method collects wins, limits losses everywhere, not just 1 in 4 casinos, but everywhere. And tastes are great. It could be a hand pay, but if that isn't there, you're actually built in a simple method to have a loss limits and preserving gains, which, someone who was asking about why is it that we keep playing? And well, you follow the strategy, and I've snuck it in there. Two very important things: loss limits and preserving gains. And so if you go to the state of Washington and play class 3 machines on their unique slots, and you use the 5-spin strategy, by golly, you win. Not because they have taste, but because your loss limits and preserving gains are helping you. And so in pubs with less than 30 machines in Australia, you are using a strategy of 5 spins to have excellent loss limits, and you preserve your gains. And that's why you win. I snuck that in there. I felt bad about manipulating everybody to be better gamblers without telling them. On the other hand, it has like 1.3 million views on my 2 videos, my 5-spin videos. So, I got the word out, you're welcome. That's me being sneaky. Question from Isabel. When you win at casinos, you don't live in the state, can request just to take the federal taxes and no to the state. Yes, but some states don't have a state income tax. They have a fee, a 4% fee that they give any taxable income. Like I think it's Mississippi does that. And I think Missouri does it too, but you can actually fill out the tax form and submit it to their department and get that money back if you're not a resident. So, I have my CPA come on as a co-host. The last time I did this was in December. It's actually in I put that over into a podcast. I remove, after a week, I remove my live streams, but my podcasts are forever. And so as long as I keep paying, and thank you for the donations, everybody, to have those. And so if you go back through my podcast, you can see the one where I have my CPA and just listen to him, talk for an hour about, different things. And in that podcast, if you look at the podcast description, is his mobile phone number. Call him. That's what I do. He said, I will give your audience my number. Feel free to call. Not many have. It's like my having my phone number at the bottom of my website, right? Oh, look, there's my address and voicemail and messaging. Do you use it? No, but people are reassured by having it. It's this casino manipulation, is marketing. And so people feel reassured they can reach me. But I've had people call me and didn't expect to actually reach me, and because it does say voicemail, and it didn't go to voicemail. I picked up, and the person was like, I'm like, hello? And he's like, John? And I'm like, yeah. Professor Slots? And I'm like, yeah. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you picked up. And I'm like, okay. And I'm hearing sirens and other stuff, and I'm like, are you okay? Well, I'm driving, and somebody's pulling somebody over, and I'm like, going around that, and I'm like, okay, well, watch the road. Wouldn't want you to get in trouble because you're called me and you're don't have to leave a message. Anyway, so you can, but the federal is the federal, and wherever you are, you have federal. So to your point, in state, it's whatever the state does. And sometimes there's a fee, and sometimes there's income tax, and sometimes there's neither income tax for a state. Now, please be aware that if you are not a resident of Oklahoma and you gamble in Oklahoma, they will limit your deductions, your gambling deductions, if you itemize your gambling deductions for any gambling in Oklahoma to, I think it's $17,000, or it was. So please check with I'm not an income tax professional. Please check with an income tax professional if you do anything like that. And every state is a little bit different. So you want to know what's going on. As I try to explain to people, and I don't mean to scare anybody, but income tax burdens are not fun. Surprise income tax burdens are worse. Yeah. But if you know what you're knows if it's happened to you before, like I said like an hour ago, if you're going to get a hand pay, it's a big learning experience. Yeah. And let me keep going on with questions because I have one from Michael. Should you start fresh with hunt for favorable machines with each visit to the casino, or stick to the good machines that you know? Yeah. Please don't throw away any knowledge that you have about your casino. You might learn why it's a winner, and you might realize that you have a way of finding machines, but you really hadn't thought of it that way. I had one gentleman tell me he had ESP, and I'm like, and you notice this, and you notice this, and you notice this, and he's like, yeah. He prefers to have ESP, but so you've learned, right? And please use that to effect. But there are plenty of casinos maybe you haven't been to, and so you want to, look for, how do I put this? You figured out how to find a winning slot machine at your casino. You can do it again. I just hope I can help. So it's you. When I remember going to like a gym, with a membership, and thinking about getting one, and I walked in, and the whatever you call it, the person trying to get me to buy a membership was like, forget everything you know. Just forget everything you know. Just throw it out the window, and only do what he would say. And I was like, that doesn't work for me. What are you even talking about? Who are you? And so please use what works and build on it. And I hope I can help you build on it. I have consultations so that if it gets to be like I haven't addressed it, if you have questions on, I'm trying to write scripts and do videos and articles which would help the most number of people. But if you want to pay me to be directed at what you do, I'll be happy to offer you a consult. Yeah. Just send me an email at john@professorslots.com. I'll direct you to the link and you can decide. Question I've had on my mind for some time: to do the return percent vary for multi-denominational machine by each of the denominations, or the percent of the return of the machine as a whole? Sorry, didn't mean to talk fast. It on old multi-denomination machines, well, are there any old ones? There are some old ones, some where it's just it's old multi-denomination machines, but we're talking, and that's physical real machines. And I doubt very much it's different on each of the machines, because it's just kind of old machines, and it given the technology at the time, and given what kind of how the slot machine works, no, I just see that being too much of an effort, too much of a burden, too much of a, having all that, just make it one set of odds and just choose the denomination. I just see it being better for maintenance and all of that. But on those video slot machines, the multi-denomination machines, by golly, every one of those is different. And 1 cent is the worst. We have returns. I mean, when you look at the returns for Nevada, they have a line item in the returns. They go by slot machine denomination, but they also have a line item that says multi-denomination machines. And there's more of those than anything. There's penny slots, which might be like for the state, I don't know, 30,000. I'm trying to remember slot machines, but there's 40,000, almost 50,000 on the multi-denominational machines, and everything else is in the hundreds, right, or thousands. And so there's, and it's if every odd, I hate to talk about engineering estimates here, but if every different denomination had the same odds, when most of the machines are multi-denominational or penny, the 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 1 cents are skewed, so that would be different, but 2 cents, 5 cents, and 10 cents are different returns when most of those are on multi-denominational machines on that single line item. And then you go to another state, and those multi-denomination numbers are actually put into 2 cents, 2 cents, 3 cents, 5 cents is 5 cent, 10 cent is 10 cent, and there is no multi-denomination line. The odds are different. So yeah, we can dig that out of the data and we can see. But I think on the really old multi-denomination machines, that was way too early for that sort of thing. But the video slot machines, yeah, because we can see it in the data. It's pretty clear. Yeah. So let's see, questions. Linda says, so to my understanding, casinos can change the payout while playing. Yeah. I mean, there's misunderstandings that people have that the state tells what the payout is. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. They're like, yes, it does. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It says the lower limit in like, I don't have the numbers in front of me. 29 states have a lower limit. 13 states have a maximum limit. It can be anywhere in the range. And for those 23 states that have a lower limit, it could be over 100% legally. It's all legal. So yeah, and so it used to be that you had to open up the machine and you had to change the odds, and it was all a horrendous process. And automation came along; they were able to get rid of those so many slots mechanics, and then the old way of doing things, and the new way is automated. And yeah, while you're playing, but statistics works by leaving the settings alone for 15 minutes. and if it comes back, it's not changing because you played it. It's all set on a schedule a week ago. And so if it's at that time, that's one of my strategies is come back a week later, play at the same time if you won. Because if they've set it up on a schedule, then it's on a schedule. So use the schedule, sync yourself to the schedule. And so use that to your advantage. Yeah. Michael says, if you see a machine hit a jackpot, should we assume that's a good machine to play in the future? So sometimes people say, okay, it paid out. Now it's not going to pay out. I'm done with it. And other players will ignore it. But there's two possibilities. One is lightning struck, and that's why somebody won. Just boom. It happens. It can happen. It's mixed in with everything else. But the other possibility is it's a winning machine. So go make 10 bets. See if you win anything at all. If you do, go to 20 bets. This is my strategy for determining if it's a candidate winning machine. Then go to 20 bets and then decide. Tough love. Is it worth staying or is it not worth my time? Big dramatic scene. And if you're willing to stay, then do another 30 bets and make the decision again. So you're up to 50. And then if you make that, tough love decision, you're doing this for me or I'm out of here, then you go to 100 bets. And at that point, good luck for the next hour or whatever, and remember to stop when you start losing. So yeah, it could be. I mean, what better indication that a slot machine is a winner than a win? And I found that if it's put on a schedule, and it's not always put on a schedule, like I said, lightning strikes sometimes. Some people think it's all the time, and it's not. So if you saw a win, I found that you come back a week later, as long as it's not like, the next Wednesday is Christmas Day, and you won on Wednesday, and you go back next Wednesday, and it's like Christmas Day. It's a very different day with a very different crowd, and so the schedule would naturally be changed. But if it's any old day, then from this Wednesday to that Wednesday at 4:00, let's say, do it again at 4:00. I mean, you won't win the same amount, but you might have better odds. You might win more, you might win less, but the chance of it being a winning machine at that time, because it's on a schedule, is what you're trying to do. That's my repeat wins for X strategy, which I used to call win, walk away, return later, and 1 week later. And some people have pressed me to say, well, what if it's Wednesday at 4:00? What about Thursday at 4:00? And I'm like, have you been to a casino on a Thursday? It's not the same crowd as a Wednesday. It's a little bit like similar. And Mondays are pretty slow, and Tuesdays are about as slow. So Monday and Tuesday is kind of similar, and Wednesdays and Thursdays are kind of similar. But Fridays, it's its own animal, and it's not even like the Saturday. But maybe the closest thing to a Saturday is a Friday. And I'm trying to give people that understanding that these different days have different schedules, because the schedule is based on what's going on in the casino historically, but the casino knows, and so they use that. So in the future, yeah, sure, try a week later. In the future, yeah, try a few minutes later. If people get up in disgust and walk away saying, that's it, don't even bother playing it, you're like, excuse me, get out of the way, I need to play that machine real fast. Thank you, Paula. She's often checked to see if I'm still alive. Hashtag question from Michael. Thank you. I hit $12,000 grand on a $1 machine using combination of your strategies. Congratulations. I have a joke. Please don't take this seriously. Would a $20 tips kill you? And now you can't. Now you can't tip. I'm not allowing it. But I just wanted to tell the joke. I had somebody who spent $31 million in 9.5 months. Top gambler in his casino. I won't say where. I was talking to him last October, and he won $30 million. And I thought it was pretty funny on a consultation when I said, would a $20, it's all your strategies work. And I said, would a $20 tip kill you? I don't know. I got to get, I have a terrible sense of humor. I have to get over it. Biff says, Harrah's Rincon is a really nice casino. Had a nice run on bubble craps there last year. Do you know Mark and Dr. Mike from You Can Bet on That podcast? I've met them. I was at Foxwoods with them when we had a podcaster meetup. I know everybody's on YouTube or Facebook, and podcasting is something else. Nobody likes to, might as well talk about Twitter, but nobody likes to go to other platforms, as they call them. But great guys, and I think that's their casino, right, Rincon? When they don't go to Nevada. Yep. Okay, so I did that one. I will give you a few minutes to ask a question, but I'll also give you a moment. I'll give you see how much time we have left on purchasing the course. And there it is. Let me zoom that in for you. So price increase is coming soon. 5 days, 1 hour, 25 minutes, 38 seconds. Improve your slots play in 30 days or less with my 30 days to play slots smarter and win. You also get 3 free valuable bonuses plus 1 month free membership to my Slots Enthusiast Growth Network, where you'll get community support and accountability. Visit professorslots.com/30 days to learn more about the free bonuses, course content, and testimonials from participants. I'd love to tell you about Thursday's Zoom group meeting where we all got together and discussed, and every week on Thursdays at night, and right after my Thursday at 3 p.m. Live stream. So I do a lot of talking that day, which, speaking of which. And so, if you don't follow podcasts, don't worry about it. If you don't follow Facebook, don't follow, doesn't really matter if, you visit my 57 Facebook groups with 30,000 people. It's, it's almost as large as my YouTube channel. Don't worry about it. And if you, don't like books, so don't bother buying it on Amazon and all of that. So just do what you do. And that's what people do. So I'm here on YouTube to say hello to you, and I'm on podcast to say hello to the podcast listener. And I have a book on Amazon for people who read a lot, and et cetera, and et cetera. So trying to, cover all the bases, and been doing it for years. And Debbie says, what's your opinion of MGM Casino in Detroit? I've been there, and this is it. So I have an article. If you, and can you see that? MGM-Grand Detroit. So if you were to go to, I'll back up here. If you go to one more. Right. So right here is reviews under professorslots.com. If you click that, then the second article is MGM Grand Detroit. I was there in winter, late, I think it was January or February, and I found a couple of machines and read that article. That's what that's my opinion, because I've been there and seen it and figured it out for you. Okay, that's it. What a great live stream. You'll see me in my next live stream on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, watch this video. Oops, let me get rid of Debbie. Watch this video on gambling records and how to use them and how to make the most of them, including templates. Thanks so much. Everybody have a great day. Talk to you later.